Hey, everybody, this is Cole with Long Range Tactics. I'm here at the Utah Air Guns booth, 2025 Hunt Expo. I'm here with Silencer Central. They've been one of our partners, sponsors for quite a while now, and we haven't had them on the show because they've just been so busy pushing freaking suppressors. It's not even funny, and trying to get Brandon nailed down. Good luck with that. So
he went to the other side of the country just to avoid this one, you know.
Did he go to NWTF?
He's at NWTF right now, yeah.
Well, he's always flying somewhere. That guy's kind of like, he reminds me of like the Energizer Bunny. Seems like he's always going, but
yeah,
that's probably why his company's doing so good, right?
Yeah, his energy is definitely part of the engine.
Yeah. So introduce your guy. Like Carter, I've known you. I haven't really met you guys. So what do you guys do for Silencer Central?
Yeah, go ahead, Logan.
Yeah, Logan Hutchinson, Director of Marketing at Silencer Central.
Okay.
Been here for about 9 months. Yeah, so kind of directing all the brand strategy and direction and kind of the execution behind Maddox's push, right?
Yeah, and you took over for.
We've been Reed, who had been the last one, but he came in recently. How you been here? 4 or 5 months?
Since it was April of last year.
April?
So it's been a while. Yeah.
It's kind of been a whole marketing rebuild.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like a lot of companies, there was a phase where there were people doing marketing roles. There were agencies helping out where they could, and the decision was made to bring it all in-house, and Logan was kind of the first main piece, and then he's been building the team around that.
I got you. That is one of the hard things, you know, as a marketing firm that I own. Like it is so hard, especially when the company's so far away to build everything. And it seems like more and more companies are trying to bring it in, but finding the right people and putting it together. And I think Brandon's done a pretty good job of putting the right people in the right spot. You know, I had Seekins in here yesterday. And the big thing that we kind of talked about was, man, you hire the right people, you build the right team, and then you let them do their freaking job. And it seems like Brandon's done a very good job of doing that. I mean, I see his videos, and holy shit, talk about suppressors going out the door.
Yeah, it's been fun. They convinced me to move from Virginia to South Dakota for this, right?
Ooh.
So, but you know, with the vision and the promise that he kind of laid out, and we've executed on that. Rebuilt our entire marketing team, brought on people like Joe Carter, right? It's been incredible. I'm on the second floor, right? My back windows to that warehouse. And the suppressors are just stacked high. It's massive.
Dude, it blows my mind when you see all those giant warehouse shelving with just suppressors. You're like, holy crap, that's some freaking inventory right there you're going to push out. So what do you do for
Yeah, so I'm the senior manager of media and relationships. So my background, after military service, I was actually on the media side in this industry. So I was at American Rifleman at NRA Pubs for 9 years as a senior editor there. Moved over to Guns and Ammo for a few years as a senior editor there. And then kind of switched sides of the table and came over to help Silencer Central, you know, saw what they were doing. They gave me a call. They needed somebody that kind of knew the industry, knew the media side of it, knew some of the players, and could kind of, I think, too, get plugged right in. And so, they gave me a call, and man, I met Logan. I'd known Brandon for years, you know, and it seemed like the right fit, the right time.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things is like, it seems like so many people move around this industry. I've been in this industry for 13, 14, somewhere right in there, a long time. But, you know, we all kind of move around and we just kind of find those places where we fit. And, man, some places just do not fit, and other places the culture and everything seems to do very well. And I think from what I've seen from the outside looking in, the Silencer Central culture itself is very good. Could you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. The second I flew out there, right, convincing my wife to move was not easy, right? And I was like, well, let me go out a day early and see what it's like. And I walked in, and I was like, this is not like other firearms companies, right? There is, 200 people here. It's like a tech company almost, right? And how professional and buttoned up it was. And their vision was 10 years, right? And everyone's bought into that. It's not what are we doing tomorrow. It's how do we build for the next 10 years for everyone here.
Yeah, I remember seeing one of his posts a while back. It's like, man, I started one of these shows with a table like this, you know, a 6-foot table, and I had a few things stretched out on it, and now you guys have got, you know, a SHOT Show, you had your own giant area and everything else, and it's good to see the growth. I mean, the suppressor side of things has grown so much. I think I did 2 or 3, they were trust transfers a few weeks ago, and the one took 3 days.
Yeah,
truss transfer.
I got a trust transferred. I got an approval in 40 hours on a trust, which was wild.
Dude, that's unheard of.
Yeah, we track those. We talk about them every day. Like Logan was saying, very tech company vibe, great community vibe too. In my previous life, I had the chance to tour all of those traditional manufacturers, those American manufacturers, from bullets, suppressors, or not suppressors, but some of them, firearms. Nothing like what Silencer Central is doing. But we talk about those numbers every day and kind of get the update on what the average approval times are. And it's cool to watch them be pretty much neck and neck right now between individual and the truss, at least our truss.
I was going to say, I think even like on the ATF wait times, I think it's only a day apart between individual. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and it used to be like legitimately like 6 months to 12 months.
My first suppressor was 14 months. I mean, years ago, but that was, my first suppressor was 14 months for approval.
Yeah, and I think, would you guys agree that's the biggest driving factor of why suppressors are just going gangbuster now? Because they're actually accessible.
And I think that's a big part of it. I also think as people get to try them or see their buddies using them, see the advantages, and it's not just the noise mitigation, it's also the recoil reduction. Like, it's just way more pleasant to shoot suppressed. That education piece is finally also getting out, and the great thing for us is we're well positioned to deliver for people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've told people this a million times. I mean, I've shot a lot of animals, and it's amazing to me. Like, even if you miss a follow-up shot, the animal's just sitting there kind of like, what in the hell just happened? Other people, I shot one of my biggest deer to date here in Utah a few years ago, shot it, walked up to it, we were doing the pictures, high fives and everything, and a dude walks over and goes, when the hell did you shoot that? Did you shoot? Like, he was just a ridge over.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, it was like 10 minutes ago? And he goes, no freaking way. And it was Banish 30. That's one of those things that is... they're still light. They're not adding a whole bunch. My hearing's great. My ears aren't ringing. Recoil is actually really good. I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, you put a suppressor on there, my recoil's a lot worse." No, it's not.
No, it's the opposite.
Improved,
Yeah. I was just my last hunt of last fall was Montana elk, and 300-yard cross canyon shot, the typical elk hunting scenario. And the cool thing was, even though I was on a pretty steep ridge, the elk was on a pretty steep ridge, the setup wasn't as stable as maybe I would have liked if we had more time. 7 PRC, I never lost the elk in the scope, that's the first benefit, is I could see the impact even at just 300 yards with a 7mm Magnum, and that's not what you would typically get, especially even with the brakes and stuff people are putting on. You get your bell rung and you lose the animal in the scope during recoil. The suppressor fixes that. The other nice thing is you hear Mike Tyson slapping a side of beef on the other side of the canyon because your ears aren't rung when you're shooting suppressed.
Yeah, I mean, your ears, that we were just talking about that with Justin. I'm like, dude, that's one of the things. Sight and hearing is two things you can never get back. Yep. And a lot of guys that sit and put, especially on the range, you guys is doing like the new Speed K and some of these that are allowing people shorter setups so they can clear houses, so they can do that stuff. Especially for military and law enforcement. I mean, these are big. When these guys are going through shoot houses, they're doubled up. They got earplugs, they got Ear Pro, they got everything going on. They're trying to run stuff, and that is a huge thing that I think needs to be pushed more in the military and law enforcement side of things too. I know the military and Tier 1 units specifically, they're all running suppressors now. I mean, and they're running subs and everything. But it's amazing to me how many law enforcement agencies in SWAT specific and things like that, they're still getting their freaking bells rung. And you're in a house, you're close quarters, you don't have time to put Ear Pro on and stuff like that. Like, it's just smart. And if you're listening and you're a law enforcement agency, look into this stuff. But tell me a little bit about your new stuff. So I know at SHOT you released the 9mm pistol can that needs to come to my house, the Speed K that needs to come to my house.
You can do that.
I'm a suppressor whore. I think the other day I think I've got 36 suppressors now.
Stamp collector.
No, they're all in my SOTs.
They're
all in my SOTs. Like I hit up my ATF agent. I'm like, if I ever want to transfer these, is there a way to do this without paying like $6,000 in transfer fees? And he goes, I'll tell you a story, but that's for a different time. But tell me a little bit about these new cans, because they're kind of ahead of their time. My old 9mm cans that I have, my old 45s, they're heavy as hell. My Glock won't run with it for shit.
Glocks won't run with
Yeah,
anything.
we were just talking about the office. Yeah.
Yeah.
For as bomb-proof as that pistol is, man, like that is the worst suppressor host out there.
Yeah.
Glock, fix your stuff. Send extra springs. Do what you got to do. I'm so tired of it. I love Glocks. They're the most reliable pistols out there, but you put a suppressor on it, and the whole thing goes to crap.
My 1911s are. They're like a sewing machine. They just run with a suppressor no matter what. But tell me about these.
I was just say, Joe, if you want to start talking about the Glocks, we had that 9K on a G18 out at Range Day.
Oh yeah, out at SHOT Show we had Range Day. We had Brandon's machine gun out there. We had his Glock 18, and we were just feeding it mag after mag after mag. The cool thing is we had a line out the door. The bad thing is we had a line out the door. We were just loading mags as fast as we could the whole time, but. Man, it was super cool, and people were asking, like, further back in the line, are they shooting it right now? Like, yeah, they're shooting it right now. You can see them, because even though it's so small, so the Banish 9K, super short, super light, 2.7 ounces, doesn't even need a piston to run on these guns, but it's quiet. That's the thing. We've seen short suppressors before for 9mm. But this one's actually quiet. It's also not pingy, which I like. If you shoot a lot of handgun suppressors, you kind of get that high-pitched ping. This one's kind of got a real kind of cool mid-tone, just kind of whap, 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 It's pretty cool. And so we had it on the Glock 18. We also had it on a CMMG Banshee, little PCC out there. Had it on a Hellcat Pro. It just ran great on all that stuff. So Glock machine guns, they work with suppressors. Pretty much everything else, not so much. but a lot of fun. Everybody loved it, and it was super quiet. That's what people were amazed by. How is a can this short, this light, this quiet? And that's some of the modern manufacturing that we're doing now.
Yeah. I remember I picked it up at SHOT, and I was asking, I can't remember her name, that was over there in the booth. I've known her for a while. She was at Pulsar. Anyway.
Rebecca.
Rebecca,
yeah. She's great.
So I picked it up, and I'm like, wait, is this a prototype? Like, is this just like
it feels
something?
plasticky, doesn't it?
I'm like, is this something you guys just brought to show people? She goes, no, that's it. And I'm like, holy shit, it kind of blew my mind that it was this light, this small, and it just grabbed my attention. And I think that's one of the big things is everybody thinks they need these giant suppressors for sound suppression, right? And you don't need it. There was another, the Speed K, of course. You've got the Inconel and the titanium, right?
Yep.
What are the differences? Like if somebody's listening, like if they're going for something for their AR, what are they looking for between the two?
Yeah, I would say the Inconel, that's going to be more of your heavy-duty use can. I mean, it's full auto-rated. We put it on saws. We put it on anything you think of belt-fed, 5.56, 223 can. But the biggest thing with them is they lower the back pressure. So you don't have to worry about getting gassed out, with those shorter ARs. They add about 5% to any AR platform for back pressure versus unsuppressed. But the biggest difference between the Inconel and titanium is going to be 8 ounces, super light. It's going to be for your guy that's just, going to the range every once in a while, maybe doing a mag dump, but it's not going to be full auto rated. That Inconel side is going to be heavy use can.
Yeah, it's definitely heavier. The cool thing about both the Speed K and the 9K, demonstrating that additive manufacturing process, basically 3D printing these cans, and it allows you to do super cool things in very efficiently. And so like on those Speed Ks, the way that back pressure is reduced compared to traditional suppressors, and the reason you're not eating gas with every shot is that it's got a controlled flow design inside. So we are not just like slowing down and capturing some of the gas with each shot. We're also controlling the way it feeds out the front so that it doesn't come back at you.
What's blown my mind for sales on that is even though the Inconel one is heavier, when you put it on those short platforms, you don't notice it just because it's so compact.
It actually kind of helps too.
Yeah,
with your muzzle rise.
Yeah. On the short ones,
long.
yeah.
I mean, we used to call it internally prototypes 2x4 because it's 2 inches by 4 inches.
Yeah,
it's short and stubby. Like the first time I saw it, I'm like, what the hell? Like, is that really going to freaking work? But
it does.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, everybody that has talked about it's just been raving about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I think, where the industry is going is, again, going back to that, I remember some of my first cans, dude, they were like 12, 13 inches long. Yep. And these are so much shorter and so much more compact. So in the baffle systems in these, like, is there anything special that really makes them?
There's some intricacies there, like our control flow technology obviously is patented, but with the additive manufacturing, you don't have to necessarily do the traditional baffle stacks. So there's all different vortexes, different flow through stuff, like as far as like going through the can itself, but the control flow tech it's one of a kind.
Because I've seen a lot of other companies try to beat that, with charging handles that try to blow gas and different things.
Yeah.
And if you shoot enough, and if you shot enough ARs, the burning in the eye sensation that you get. So that's one of the big things you look at, especially in like a law enforcement, military, anything that you've got to keep your wits about you. You got to keep your vision and everything. I mean, of course, if you're clearing your own house or doing something, you want that too. And I don't want I always say it, I don't want a damn lightsabers. I'm trying to go around a door and clear a room. You know what I mean?
I think that's the most important thing with this, right? We didn't just say we're going to create a suppressor. We worked with federal and SWAT teams and law enforcement and said, what do you want? And then we tested, right, each iteration with them saying, I like this, I don't like this, rather than just being like, here's what we've heard. We made the best we could. So many iterations to go through to get that little can to work the way it does.
Right.
Yeah, the other thing is, we think about the short length on them for, room clearing or CQB type scenarios. But the other big benefit is also, whether it's military or law enforcement, you're probably moving to the scene from a vehicle. And so just having the portability, not having it hang up, having more options for where to store it in a patrol car, in a Humvee, that length also helps there, just having it a smaller platform. And I was listening to our lead engineer, Lucas, talking about how those were designed and how those were made the other day. And, it's just so sophisticated now. It goes from, fluid dynamic modeling, basically in theory on the computers, to rapid prototyping, and then from there just really fine tuning that and just kind of seeing how far the theory can get you, and then how like modern manufacturing can help you then dial in that final design to come out with a product that's really cool and unique.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like, when we'd stow it, in the military, we'd stow it, and everything just gets caught because it's either sticking down between the seat and the door and everything else. But let's go a little bit. Here's the biggest thing that I think sets Silencer Central apart. There's a few other suppressor companies. If you order something, you're waiting 6 months just to get the serial number. And then once you get the serial number, then you've got to order it. So I think you guys storing that stuff, which is, to my imagination, would be astronomical to try and keep it on the shelf to be able to push it out so fast. But you guys are just turning suppressors out like crazy. Give us a little insight, and I've tried to say it in some of the ads that I do on the channel, but give me a little bit of insight of how the process works.
Do you hit on that, Logan, or?
Well, you.
All right. So the biggest thing, you can't sell a suppressor unless you have it on your shelf. You have to have the serial number to start the process. One thing that Silencer Central exceeds at is having, good relationships with manufacturers. So we have, not just Banish product, but every product, right? We have Huxworks, we have Silencer Co., we have Dead Air, we have everything that you could think of. But just having good relationships to make sure we get the products, and then after that, being organized, right? You got to have all the storage, everything like that. Right now we're in the process of building a $20 million building next door just to have more space, to have more product.
That's nuts.
Once a customer comes to us, we just gather all the general information, right? We got to get their photo, we got their fingerprints, and then all their demographic info. A lot of that's done over the phone and through email. Then we ship out a fingerprint card to the customer. They can do their fingerprints, mail them back to us. We take care of everything step 1 to step 20. And then photo, they just take a selfie on their smartphone, upload it. You can order online. You can order, through our sales department. They'll walk you through, what's your use case for that suppressor? What calibers are you running? What guns are you putting them on? That way they can really narrow it down for you. And then if you have any questions, you can call back into our customer service team. Whether it's trust questions or anything like that, they can take care of you from there.
Yeah. I also think, the heart of the company came from Brandon going to events and selling them. So the other way we make things easy is if you do see us at one of our nearly 200 events that we do each year, you can get your photo and your fingerprints done right there. So you can do the whole process right there, get into the system, and then follow the approval through and deliver to your door.
I was gonna say, even shows like this. We're at Western Hunt here. We were at DSC. We had a customer come through, do the process, actually get submitted at the show, and came back the next day with his approval. Was like, hey, how do I fill out my 4473? And we walked him through that. He couldn't believe it. Less than a 24-hour approval at a show.
And it's the right people, right? We have 50-plus customer service and operations people in-house, right? We have 200 employees, and most of them are in that operation. And that's why we're able to scale the way we do, right? We're getting 1,000 phone calls a day, and they're calling in kind of concerned and worried, I don't know how to do this. We walk them through it, and then they're a customer for life.
Right, yeah. You take care of them, they'll come back.
Well, and it goes back to what you say, having Brandon finds the right people for the right seat, right? I mean, our team, it's crazy. Like, we think about a year of being here and, you know, going through everything. It flies so quickly because everybody knows what their job is and executes it.
Right. Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, there was a couple times that I just tried it out. So I sent my stuff in, I got a packet, I got my fingerprint card, I got everything. I'm like, man, this is like, it's almost stupid proof. I sent a couple of my guys that work for me to you, and they're like, they sent me a picture of this fingerprint card. I'm like, yes, go down to the local PD, they'll help you out. They do it all the time, trust me. But what if somebody knows that my fingerprint? It's like, dude, don't worry about it. It's just going to go in. You're going to be taken care of. No one's going to do it. It's amazing to me how many people are so paranoid about, how
Big
everything
brother.
goes.
Yeah.
But it's like, at the end of the day, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to come after you. Suppressors are getting easier to get. They're not so big and bad like everybody, thought they were in the beginning. Hence why we got to pay the stupid $200 tax stamp on them,
I do think, that visit to the local sheriff's office was really intimidating for people, and that's why having our fingerprint system be able to be done by yourself at home. We send you 2 cards, you fill them both out, and that way if we have a bad print on one, we can cover it with the other, and then you just mail it back to us, and we process it into the system and create the file. That took away what I think was more of a mental than a actual process obstacle for people. Like, a lot of people just didn't want to walk into their local PD asking to get printed. That was just a mental block for a lot of people. So being able to do the entire process at your house, I think, game changer.
I mean, even on the backside, like when you log into the eForms website, I know you have familiarity. There's so many different things going on that website. So for us, they just create their account, and then we handle it from there. They don't have to worry about doing their trust paperwork. And, we help them with all the filing. And
we're good at it, right? Our big thing we sell is it's 99.99% success rate. Not meaning if you're a felon, you're going to get disapproved, but that says we don't make mistakes. And our claim, right, is if we make any mistake in the process, you get a free tax stamp. We're going to cover that for you. Luckily, we don't have to do that, right? Because it just doesn't happen because our team is so buttoned up.
So real quick on the trust thing, a lot of people, I've been asked this a million times, like, what is the difference between a trust and me just going and buying as a random person?
Yeah, so if you go and buy it as an individual, you're the only person that can possess it, own it. That suppressor is yours. That serial number is registered to you. When you put it in a trust, you kind of keep the government at arm's length, I'll say. So they know the trust owns it, but you can add co-trustees underneath that can use that suppressor, borrow it, as long as they're 18 years or older. With our trust, we put you as a settler. We get you approved because they need one person on that trust to do the background check. Once you're approved, you can call our customer service team or email us a list of all their legal names, as long as they're 18 years or older, and we can add them on there for you. That allows, so like say your kids, as long as they're 18 or like a brother or anything like that, they can borrow your suppressor, go hunt with it, and bring it back.
Like, it's not really an issue when you're there with them. It's more like if you're hunting 2 different sides of the field, like technically that other person, if they're not on your trust, should not be in the possession of one of your suppressors. This kind of covers you for that.
Yep, and like the ATF, so if you are, registered as an individual, as long as that suppressor is within eyesight, if somebody's using it within eyesight, that's what they rule is still being in your possession.
And then the other issue, if something ever happens to you, God forbid you die in a car accident or something, that suppressor's got to go bye-bye. Like, no one can technically own it ever again, right?
Yep, so that's where the trust really comes in handy. So succession, right? So anybody that's on that trust, say you pass away, you're the settler, they're grandfathered into that trust, so they can still use it, still, go have their hunts with it. And then after that, somebody would have to start a new trust and do the process over again.
Okay. All right. Well, I know you guys are busy. Let's go around the table real quick. What's your favorite suppressor?
Oh, that's a tough one.
If there was one.
I'm going to tell you the Banish 22 because I shoot that the most. It's probably
I love it.
Yeah, it's a joy to shoot, and you can shoot all the rimfire through it.
What about?
It's the Banish backcountry. It's partly biased. It was the first one I shot when I got to Silencer Central, right? I put it on my favorite rifle. It's light. It's just perfect.
What about you?
Yeah, I would piggyback on the backcountry because I've just taken so much game with the backcountry. I love that suppressor. I think it's my go-to hunting suppressor. But I will say the one I'm most excited about is probably that 9K.
Yeah.
And kind of what comes after. Like, I look at the Speed K and the 9K not only as super cool, super versatile, and really, pursuit-driven products, but also the first step or like proof of concept of what we can do with the right materials, the right manufacturing processes. It's pretty exciting.
I mean, suppressors, the game has changed just in the last couple of years. Everything's evolving, and to be thought of to be that person on the cutting edge, I think Silencer Central's there. And I'm not just buttering anybody's biscuit with that. I mean, you know what I mean. But I think going from where it was to where it is now so fast. You know, and there's a lot of companies out there doing the same thing. I mean, I'm just walking around, I see a couple new companies creating suppressors, and it's just like, you know, rifles, not everything's created equal.
Yep.
But I think the biggest thing that really sets you guys apart is just how easy it is to get one. Like, it's simple. I don't have to go anywhere. I can sit at home in my underwear, drinking Coke, and get it, do it all, send it right back, and it's at my house before I know it, right? And that is a big thing that surprises people. Like, wow, you can just ship it to my house? Yeah, well, I don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. Most people got to drive down. They got to do their stuff, come back, and then they got to go back. You know, pick up the suppressor, do everything.
It's an Amazon culture, and we're here for it.
Exactly.
I mean, we're gonna handle it for you.
Everything's going that way. But I appreciate you guys for stopping. I'm looking forward to testing the new stuff. I shoot the crap out of the old stuff. Mine is probably still the Banish 30 or the Gold, just because I like the ability on my high recoiling rifles for the amount of recoil reduction, and it still doesn't hurt my ears. You know, I took a bunch of tier 1 guys that have been injured. I took them on an elk hunt this year. They all shot it. Man, they fell in love with those suppressors.
Yeah, I think everybody needs a good 30. Super versatile. You can use it on just about anything. Then I think number 2, you need a good 22. You know, because that's the most fun you can have at the range, I think.
Yeah, there's the bird outside pissing you off. You just take it out, and no one knows the wiser. No one knows the wiser. I appreciate you guys for stopping by, and if anybody wants to go check it out, silencercentral.com. Super simple. They have a bunch of different cans. I noticed you guys just separated the Banish series, so go check out the Banish series. Go check out everything they've got. One-stop shop. I appreciate you guys for stopping.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.